So the tournament the quarterfinal round presentation was really cool. I think everyone can agree it was a very fun idea. I just want to know how you guys came up with it. What was the whole planning? What went into that?
You know what? I'd like to take credit for it, but really it was a playbook out of the K1 fights we did back in Japan. That's how they had their own spin on it. We had our own spin on it. But at the end of the day, they came up and picked a number. The twist really came from John McCarthy. Is how do you he called me up and said, hey, this is an idea I think you guys should consider. And I thought it was brilliant. So, we did it. It's almost like, what do they call it, dirty Santa or bad Santa or something, where you're stealing someone's gift, right? So that was the twist, and that came from John McCarthy. So we'll call that the John McCarthy rule from now on.
Question here.
Randall Folks, my MMA Records Radio. Is this format something that you're going to keep in the future? Like you talked about a light heavyweight tournament. Is this something that you're going to keep doing?
Yeah, I mean, I love the tournament format, and it's been a very good piece of business for the company. I'm looking forward to the fight between Rory and Douglas Lima in October. I'm looking forward to this featherweight tournament. There's a lot of heat on these guys. I mean, they're ready to fight for free. So I think that the tournament format will continue in Bellator. And it'll probably be one weight class, male or female, per year. We're not going to run multiple tournaments, throughout the year. And I just think that makes it very confusing. Let's just focus on one division, make it a great tournament. And this is a very special moment because we had 16 great athletes that we had to pick from. And we were able to start with a 16-man tournament. Now you guys see the brackets, and they're going to get down starting in December.
Scott, over to your left. I'm just curious, what did you think of Gegard's win? How do you think he looked in the main event?
Yeah,
tonight?
listen, you know what? I think he looked good. I think that, Gegard is somebody that, he was fighting a counter fighter. So they're both being very careful. And I think they both realized if they made a mistake, then it could cost them. So it was a very tactical fight. It was a very careful fight. But I thought they engaged well when they did, and, I thought Gegard won the fight.
And in the other main event, Pitbull Archuleta, it seemed to start a little slow, but things picked up later in the fight. Is that kind of what you were expecting? Were there any surprises for you?
Yeah, I mean, there's not too many people that have gone 5 rounds with Pitbull. And Archuleta was in there. He was engaging. I thought he did, a good job, and he did the best he could. I know he had some situation with the coach, which I found out about later, but, that's the rules, and that's just how it goes. So, I feel bad for him. But I told him before I came in here that, he should get some rest, just kind of unwind, get back to camp, because we're going to be very busy in the fall. So we'll find him another spot to fight.
Scott, the selection portion of the tournament, is that something that you're going to now make a regular part of the yearly tournaments?
Yeah, I liked it. I thought it was great. Now, it's something that I'll go back and look at the footage and talk to the guys. But honestly, I think it was a fun way to present the tournament and pick the tournament. And it's like a random draw, but there's a little twist at the end. So I liked it, and we'll see what happens.
And how do you think the fighters did? How do you like the brackets?
I mean, for me personally, I think that, there's some fighters that I thought were interesting, but, I was hoping for a different fight at the very end. But, I think he picked who he wanted to fight, and he's the champ. He gets to do what he wants to do. But I tell you, there's some fights I really look forward to in that tournament. So I think we're going to have a great tournament on our hands.
Hi, Scott. So there are definitely some good guys that are kind of left on the outside now, like Archuleta and whatnot. But are you giving any consideration to maybe sort of a mini tournament for alternates, perhaps?
There's not a tournament bracket that's following like a loser's bracket, like in wrestling. There's not going to be like a bracket like that. But we will keep these guys busy. There are a couple other fights that are being considered for reserve matches. And then, we will probably fight them off and just have these guys ready to go if they keep winning. So I would say it's an unofficial, losers bracket in a way that the person at the end, if there's an injury, will step in.
And is there also were there any surprises, I want to say, for the matchups that are making up the bracket? Did you have any particular ones in mind that didn't come to fruition that you thought would happen?
Yeah, my only thought was I thought that when Pitbull had the shot, I thought he was going to fight DC. That's a fight. I thought he wanted him really bad. So, it went the other way. So now we have some interesting fights on both sides. And if you keep winning, you'll fight each other anyway at the end. So, it's gonna be fine.
Scott Coker back here. Last month you had your crossover star Heather Hardy fight a big fight against Amanda Serrano in boxing for a big championship. Amanda's tweeting out she would love to make that fight happen in MMA, and she wondered, is Bellator open to cross-promoting with Combate and making a deal? What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I didn't watch the fight. I'm not, I wasn't. I guess I should go back and look at it. And we're open to any suggestions. And what I mean by that is look, we're working with Ryzen right now, and Micah Fromwitz and I have a good relationship. And so I told him the other day, look, the door is always open. Timing's going to be an issue because we're so busy. We have to keep our fighters busy. I know there was a fighter here tonight, Tom Loeffler's fighter, Cecilia. She also would like to fight Cyborg at some point. So maybe Tom and I work together. So the door is going to be open, and if it makes business, then it makes sense. And that's how I look at it.
Also, you recently signed Eric Goyito Perez. I was wondering if you could speak on what kind of impact you expect him to have in the bantamweight division as a new addition.
Well, my guys they have some high hopes for him. And I know that he's been, kind of in a couple of leagues. So let's see if we can find him a home here and let him develop and fight the top guys. But I'm not sure when he's going to fight. First, that's something you could probably talk to Ryan and find out from Rich when he's going to fight.
Scott over here. Gegard, great performance in the main event. He suggested during fight week that he was looking at potentially dropping to welterweight if Douglas Lima beats Rory McDonald. Is that something you would be interested in?
He said that. I just don't know how he does it. I mean, to drop another 15 pounds, I think that's quite ambitious, right? I think he's exactly where he should be, but he might be thinking about that $1 million prize money in case somebody got hurt, because he brought this up to me 6 months ago. Said if somebody gets hurt in that welterweight tournament, I'm in. Sign me up. I'm like, we have other plans for you, Gegard. Don't worry, you're going to be fine. So, I don't think that that's going to happen, but. If he really wants to do it, we'll sit down and we'll talk about it.
We had Antonio McKee win on the undercard. Obviously, great night for the McKees. He wants to fight again. Are you interested in that? And would you like to see him fight soon? Or what are your thoughts on him going forward?
Did he say he wants to fight again?
He does, yes.
Okay. Well, let me. I have no comment on that one, but we'll get back to you.
And then last one for me, Ava Knight. Great debut, getting the win. It seems like she's going to be fighting in boxing next, but what is the plan with her going forward?
Listen, I think she comes from a great program. She's obviously had some great boxing fights, and she's going to go back to boxing, and she's always welcome. The way I look at it is the door's open. If she wants to come back and fight mixed martial arts, we'll be here. I think we have a multi-fight deal with her, so when she comes back, she'll be fighting in Bellator.
Scott, you mentioned Cecilia Brickhouse and Tom Loeffler. Does she want to do MMA or does she want to box?
She wants to box.
So where's the discussion? Cyborg said that there was only MMA talk ahead of this fight, but where's the boxing piece of her element?
When we did the deal with Cyborg, not to get into her contract, but it was important for her to have a carve out that she could box, and Bellator will be a part of that promotion. So, if she wants to pick it up at a future date, then we'll make it happen.
Scott over here to your left. I just want to clarify one thing on the selection show. So Pitbull was always going to be last. They only picked 7 numbers, the 7 guys on stage, right? That's how it worked out.
Yes.
Okay. And then I asked you the other day about locations and dates for those Grand Prix quarterfinals. Anything to announce about that?
You know what? We still have to sign a few contracts, but in December we're obviously looking to go to Hawaii, and then in January we'll be here. February. We're talking to the Mohegan Sun, trying to get a date up there. So it's kind of in flux right now. So as we lock it down, we'll let you know.
So the January Grand Prix fight will be on the same card as Cyborg and Bud?
That's correct.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And Lyoto Machida, the main event, where do you see his future now? I think he was saying this week that he preferred light heavyweight. I think he going in middleweight is not his favorite thing at this point. Where do you see him going from here?
That's something that I'd like to go back and sit down with my team and figure that out. Him fighting, the 205 weight class, I think there's some good fighters for him to fight. Phil Davis was here tonight. He said he'd love to fight him. At some point, if he wants to fight, gets a couple wins and maybe he fights Ryan Bader at 205. So there's a couple matchups that I really like for him, and we'll get him back and we'll get him busy soon.
We'll do two more, Randall and then.
Patricio Pitbull is your lightweight champion also. He advanced in the tournament tonight. Do you plan on making an interim lightweight title?
We were going to wait till this fight was over, and he did take a lot of damage, and I think he was really smart to take that March slot, so he has more time to rest. So the thought was, if he had a quick finish, and he took the March slot, maybe he could fight in between and defend his lightweight belt. So now we're back at the drawing board because he took some damage. So I don't know how much damage he took or when he could fight again, but we're gonna have to wait for the medical reports and see. But I'd like him to defend both, and I always said that, look, fighters can defend both, as long as they don't get hurt. So we'll see what happens.
Scott, I think most would agree Pitbull versus McKee would be a big fight that would do big business for Bellator. Are you glad that they ended up on opposite sides of the bracket? So if they continue to win, it could shape up to be sort of like a mega finale, or would you have preferred to capitalize on that fight sooner on in the tournament?
I mean, look, there's no guarantee in these tournaments because you never know what's going to happen. But listen, if McKee, who's undefeated, fights Pitbull at the very end, I think that'd be a very entertaining fight. I think that's a fight that we could build a lot of heat on and make a lot of sense. But in these things, you never know. Thank you.